What is up? This is the second Lacrosse Coaches Q&A. I'm your host, Ted Hust, and today we have a simple question. It's going to be a quick question. I'm not going to go into this too deeply, but I'm going to cover the basics of it. I had someone ask, what kind of offensive schemes do I like to run, or do I think will work well with kids in the area of 5th and 6th graders and below? And he had mentioned specifically that a lot of people seem to run a 2-3-1 or a 1-3-2 set, depending on where you hail from, where you're running primarily triangles. Anyone who's familiar with lacrosse, you're going to know what a 1-3-2 or a 2-3-1 set is and what triangles specifically is also. A lot of people like to run that with the younger kids, and he said he didn't like it because he felt like there's a lot of unnecessary cutters. I totally agree. These kids are small. Their legs aren't big. You start throwing them in triangles and making them run their triangle and run that motion on every dodge or every other dodge. It's a lot of unnecessary running and cutting, and the players aren't necessarily able to even get those feeds in there while they're on the move and while they're dodging and all of that. I prefer myself, as I was coaching club ball for the younger kids, I think the youngest I coached in club was a JV team. We'd like to do a lot of just two-man game stuff, where you can run a 1-4-1, you can run a 2-2-2, you can even run it out of a 2-3-1 or a 1-3-2, whatever you want to call it. You just simply pair kids up. So you decide where these kids' strengths are on the field, where they dodge well from. You pair them up. You can either go strong. Let's say you're limited in talent. Let's say you only have 3 or 4 guys that can really handle the ball. Then you run a 1-4-1 or a 2-2-2. You put your lesser guys on the crease, give their role is to pick and repick. You teach them that. You get them to the point where they can catch and shoot, and they can be involved that way. But then they're also kind of keeping their men out of the mix to a degree. You can then keep the 2 guys at X and have them run 2-man games, just pick slips together. You can do the same out top. If you run a 1-4-1, you simply have, a guy on one of the wings with the guy out top and a guy on the other wing with the guy at X, and have them play off of each other. And you try to teach them how to pick and slip effectively, because the pick will, especially at that level, picks are huge. It will get them separation. These kids at that age, you're already going to have your better kids are going to be able to beat defenders to the rack and draw slides. That's already going to happen. So you start throwing the pick slip game into the mix with these kids. It's a huge thing for them to learn. It's something that they can do already very effectively. If the defense hedges the pick too much and the slip is open, it's just one quick pass and a shot, or one quick pass and a quick dodge. You could even teach them to go the next step. If they draw the slide, either bang it back or throw it forward and try to get the 2-pass scheme in, where when you draw the slide, the ball goes to the opposite side, 2 passes to the opposite side, and then that guy dodges. But if you break them up into pairs, and even especially if you're a little bit more even, let's say you have 6 guys that are decent, 3 that are real solid and 3 that are decent, then you can start setting the pairs up so that you go strong kid, medium kids all the way through. That way you got a strong mid and a medium mid that are working together primarily, and they can play off each other that way. And you'll free that medium range kid up for a lot of simple time and room shots, because the strong kid might be able to draw help, might be able to get the defender to slide stupidly adjacent in as part of their 2-man game and the duck under. So sorry, it's not eloquent, but I don't like the 2-3-1 or the 1-3-2 with the motion for the young kids either. I far prefer to teach them how to draw and then dump. Teach them how to draw that slide and keep their head up. And when they see that slide's coming, now they're going to move the ball. And they're moving the ball in that case in a kind of 5-on-4 setting. So it's easier to move the ball. It's a great way to teach them the concepts of moving the ball and keeping their heads up without having to do it with a crazy offensive scheme that takes too much. All they're looking for is, I'm dodging. Is the slide coming? If the slide is coming, you either roll back and bang it back to like the midi out top or to your fellow attackman, or you continue through your dodge and throw it to X or up top. You know what I mean? It's the idea just being, teach them to draw the slide, teach them to keep their head up and move the ball along when they draw the slide. And I think at this age, that's the best thing that you could teach kids. Now, if you've got some advanced kids, now you can start setting up plays. That was the next part of the question, was how many plays are too much for teams of this age? You could have a couple of set plays. Usually at that age, I might have an end line play, where every time the ball goes off on the end line, you might as well run a quick little 2-man game out back with some set picks out top real quick. But I wouldn't do anything crazy complex. My plays would be more situational, but I would try to keep them all the same. I would try to really focus on the 2-man game, because that's huge in lacrosse right now. It's a concept that's easy for these kids to understand. It's a concept that's easy to drill in practice. More importantly, it's super easy to just break the kids up into pairs and okay, boom. Now you guys are, you start with your one-on-ones and then you break into the 2-on-2s. And now the pairs are working together just like they would in the game. And and it's easier for your mids, especially because you end up having groups of mids that are going to now guard each other also. So it's a way to keep everybody involved. It's exciting. It's a way to help people work together so you can start to see progress as these guys get a little bit more comfortable with each other. Just a very simple way to not have to overthink it, to not force the kids to overthink it, and to put them in positions where they can succeed and do well. That is my answer.